Sorry, I didn't see you there. Actus XD is my name. Welcome to another I need these to see. Hi. Since patch 1.1 came out, the best token farm has changed. What used to be the best is now no longer really viable. So in this video, I want to look at what is the best tokens per hour you can achieve. If you want to jump specifically to a chapter, then the things are down below, but you're going to miss out on my hilarious jokes. So that's up to you. I don't want to rehash everything I've said in my old videos, but just to quickly go over why 1.1 has changed, we've got these new PvP missions so that the old 3 regular ones of just going to a location for a minute and a half, picking something up and putting it down somewhere else and killing 4 of some type of mob, they're now more varied for extra incitement, for extra, to try and induce you into doing PvP as part of your PvP missions. But the side effect of that is that your tokens per hour are going to have dropped drastically. So what used to be the best, which was going to Reekwater and just smashing those missions out, is no longer really viable. And we'll look at Reekwater in a little minute to see what's really happened there. In general, in 1.1, you need to look at things in a much more nuanced way. You want to be considering a number of factors when you're deciding where to go to farm your token. What I mean by this is because so many more people are going to be flagged because of the incentives to do so, you're much more likely to run into PvP flagged people while you're just trying to farm your tokens when you're out in the world, which means you're more likely to die, which means you're going to lose those PvP missions and the time. So you might need to have some sort of equilibrium, some balance between, well, am I going to go to somewhere that might reward me more faction tokens per hour, but there's going to be heaps more people who are PvP flagged running around there and I'm much more likely to die. Is that a risk? So you're going to be looking at whether you're playing during peak time or not, your server population, while you're making those kind of calculations in regards to that. The other thing to consider is that the PvP missions will now rotate between a series of different options, which means you're not always going to have the same 3 to run to the same location. A classic example of this, and I will just jump straight into Reekwater, is that sometimes you'll have one mission that sends you one side of the map, and sometimes you'll have another PvP mission in the same group that sends you to the other side of the map, which really makes it unviable because you're going to spend probably 3 times longer than you used to running, which is going to drive your tokens per hour into the ground. So jumping straight into Great Cleave, I think I feel like I'm missing something in regards to this token farm, because so many times and for so long, people have told me Great Cleave is the best. You can run out and smash out these missions and be back before they've reset. And so you're going to get heaps of tokens per hour. But the missions themselves, including in the current patch, reward all tokens. I don't understand. I'm not going to leave that in. Reward bugger all tokens. So you might be able to get out and get back in under 5 minutes, but if you're getting 400 to 700 tokens per mission, in my opinion, it's not worth it. When you're looking in a 1.1 perspective, Great Cleave is good because it is an uncapturable territory, one of the top 3 high-level zones, and so therefore 2 of the new PvP missions, or 1 for certain, which is Capture the Fort, is never going to be in the rotation because there's no forts in those locations to capture. And then from my experience in my testing, the go to the war camps to search chests or to search whatever the mission is, they don't seem to spawn there at least anywhere near as frequently either. So for those 2 reasons, Great Cleave is good if you just want to go and grind out missions, because you're never going to get the 2 crap ones that spawn and really stuff up your rotation or your cycle. Another thing in regards to Great Cleave is that because it's a lower level area, you know, it's obviously not a level 30 area, but it's not a level 60 area like Shattered Mountain or Eden Grove or Ebonscale Reach, then you're going to find less, I'll say, innate PvP, people who are in the area who are flagged and doing other things other than farming faction tokens, who are likely to just steamroll you over. Obviously, might be some people doing chest runs and that kind of thing in the area, but it's less likely than in the higher level areas where you'll have incidental PvP that's going to result in deaths, bringing your faction token per hour down. If you're enjoying this video or you're getting some value out of it, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe. Helps me out a great deal, and I'm incredibly thankful to literally every single person who does it. Thank you. We only need to talk about Reekwater for a hot minute because it's hot garbage. Went to Reekwater to get the PvP missions to go do the run. One was the kill 5 players, which is not viable for a farm at all. The other one was go to the climb and hold it for a minute and a half, or do the stuff at the climb. And the other one was go to the fort, which we had already captured. So I took the 5 in the fort and then abandoned them, waited for them to refresh. Same missions or the other crap ones spawned again. Picked them up, abandoned them, same thing again. Picked them up, abandoned them, same thing again. So I had no other option but to go and run and do one mission. So the faction tokens per hour is just ridiculous and garbage. In my opinion, it's a... Moving on to the territory with the most mispronounced name in the game, Edengrove. Edensgrove. Edengrove. Maybe it's just me. Like I said earlier in the video, one of the great things about this is it's not territory controllable, which means you're not going to get the fort, and in my experience, not going to get the stupid I said cam because I'm looking at the camera. Fort or war camp PvP missions, so you're only going to get some of the easier ones. Another great thing about Edengrove is that since 1.1 you get 10% run speed on a road, and you can run most of the way to the PvP missions on a road, making it 10% faster. I mean, it's still slower than dodge rolling, but shut up. So I thought Edengrove was really good. It was viable. You didn't get slowed down by monsters too often. And you can kind of see at the very end of the clip on Edengrove, I'll try and leave it there long enough, but the PvP missions that spawned after I did these ones were also 2 that were close together. One was a search 5 chests, and I think the other one was the pick up, put down again, or whatever it was, but they were both still not much further away from the main camp, and they were together, so that means it's a viable run again option, which is something that we're paying close attention to. So in my view, out of the ones that we've covered so far, Edengrove is definitely the most viable. Reekwater, throw it out the window. Great Cleave, I feel like I must be missing something. Edengrove, really good. One thing that I think you should consider now that perhaps you would never have done in the past is always pick up the PvE missions at the same time that you get the PvP ones, and run out and see if you can knock off the PvE missions when you are on the way to do your PvP ones. If they're on the way or nearby, it could be worthwhile, provided they're relatively easy and rewarding a reasonable amount of tokens, because running is now going to be the main part of, I mean, it always has been, but even to a greater extent, it's going to be the thing that slows us down the most. So I would always, if you're going to do that, do the PvE missions on the way to doing the PvP. Don't do the PvP and then the PvE, because if you get killed after you've done some of the PvP, you're going to lose all your credit towards them. Hopefully that's self-explanatory, because I did a bad job of explanatoryying it to you. We move on to the big boy. And yes, this is the final place I tested, and yes, the number at the end is going to be the biggest one. But no, that doesn't mean that I think this is the place to do your farm, and it goes back to some of the stuff I said at the start of the video, if you were listening, which I'm sure you were, because you're lovely. I know you. Shattered Mountain is great. The PvP missions, the 2 that you get are close together. Again, it's uncapturable territory, so no crap missions. The missions were close together, really easy to do, very quick, lovely. So what's not to love? Why wouldn't you just smash this out all the time? You'll see again at the end when I turn them in that the PvP missions that replace them were back again in a very similar location, close together, nearby, short run. Beautiful. Mwah, chef's kiss. Excellent. Here's my opinion. You may disagree, and it may vary depending, or it will vary depending on your server, but my opinion is Shattered Mountain is probably the area where you are most likely to be ganked by an uncontrollable Zerg of 6,000 angry marauders. Unless you're a marauder, then choose one of the other factions and imagine that I said that. As they run to Mirkgard, screaming into battle to lag and miss and not be able to do any damage if you're a mage. But there's going to be a heap of people running around doing chest runs in, mines, Mirkgard, yada, 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 doing all that stuff, so you're much more likely to be killed. The mobs are a lot higher level, so you're much more likely to be killed. The missions that replace the ones that I do are in Mirkgard actual, so good luck trying to do that. You probably could still do it, sneakily, but it's a great risk. So the number is higher, but you take a greater risk. So imagine if you get 80% of the way through doing these missions and you are killed by a mob or a player and you die and you have to start again, then you can basically halve this faction token per hour number. So the things that I would be considering if I was to countenance doing Shattered Mountain is, am I on a low population server? The lower the population, the less likely you are to get killed by other players, and therefore the more viable it is. Is it peak or off-peak? Again, same calculation. If it's off-peak time, then you should be all good. Do I have other people to do the grind with? The more players, the less likely, it's just basic things. I'm not teaching you anything here. But I would say Shattered Mountain is increasing the reward, but you're really boosting the risk. Now, if they're going up together, risk and reward, if they go up together or reward goes up slightly higher, then happy days, albeit. But in my view, I think it goes more like this. I'm really good at hand gestures in my limited area here. So if we're going to wring it down to its barest, to the bare bones, to the, the pithy saying, then yes, Shattered Mountains is now the new best farm. But in my opinion, Eden Grove is only slightly worse and significantly less risk of dying for a just slightly lower reward. And also the repeatable PvP missions are probably easier than the repeatable ones here. And therefore, I think if you evened it out over time, then you would see that they would start to come a little bit closer. So at the end of the day, I think it all depends on what your own perspective or opinion is. Certainly, I would rule out Great Cleave and Reekwater, although I really feel like I'm missing something with Great Cleave. And I'd be tossing up between Eden Grove and Shattered Mountain and making my decision based on that. At the end of the day, I think the number one thing that comes... I got itchy nose every time I record. The number one thing I think that it comes down to is the uncapturable territories don't have forts, and they're less likely, or they don't give you the war camp missions. So that would be my ultimate assessment as to where I was going to grind if I needed to. Thanks to doing this video, I have like 10k coins now, so I should be right for a little while. But you guys, please let me know down below in the comments. If I'm missing something about Great Cleave, please give me like a ELI 5 understanding of what I'm missing. Or if not, then just let me know down below what you plan to do as your faction token grind. I've been Actus, you've been lovely, and remember,